Howdy folks, hope y'all doing okay today. Thanks for joining in. So, I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. This year, it feels like everyone has broke off all the knobs while trying to turn it up to 13. I do have a serious question. I know that there was a point in time in my life where ignorance was bliss when it came to politics, where basically I cheered for whoever was running for office based solely on friends and family, who they were voting for, and just, kind of joining in the majority. And I'm talking, as a kid or early teen, I was a kid. And so I wasn't overly focused on politics as a kid. And so I don't know if what I'm about to say is the case or not, but it seemed to me there was a certain amount of civility that's been lost. The thing that's getting really old is everybody assuming motives of everybody else based on their party affiliation. Give you a case in point real quick. Coworker buddy of mine, black guy, nice enough guy. He and I would sit out and talk about stuff. We're both parents, both enjoy spending time with our kids on the weekends, have some similar interests. When I get the time, I enjoy hunting. He fishes like his life depends on it. I don't think I've met someone that enjoys fishing as much as this guy does. He loves taking... Darn ladybugs. I don't know how they're getting in this truck while it is sitting in the driveway parked. He loves taking his girls out fishing, and I enjoy fishing on occasion. It's just not my preferred weekend pastime. But this guy, he just loves it. But he posted the exact same picture twice with different captions both times, and it's just irritating to me. The first time he posted it, he posted the 2020 or 2016, I'm not honestly sure, I could look it up, election map by county. So, which counties went to which candidate. And in my state of Kentucky, there were exactly 2 that went that went Democrat for president. You had Jefferson County, which is where the largest city in the state lies, and Louisville, and then I believe it's Fayette County. Don't hold me to that though, it's the Lexington area. Those are the only 2 counties in the state of Kentucky that went Democrat. if you look at election maps by county, you'll notice that typically Democrats don't pull rural areas. So, as an example, if you look at Florida, the only spot where they won was around the big cities, Miami-Dade, and a few others. Most of the places that most other rural areas went Republican. I'm not saying who's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's kind of the way it goes. Well, he posted one map of the United States election map by county, Democrat and Republican. He's like, now y'all know why black folks don't stop in small towns. The only way I can think to read that is he's assuming that Republicans are all racist. Well, I've got some news for you. If you were to sample a large enough pool of people, call it 5,000 people plucked out of various random areas, you would probably find, or call it 10,000 people, you would probably find every thing represented in that group. Gay, straight, pro-Second Amendment, anti-Second Amendment, pro-choice, pro-life, Democrat, Republican, and there would be a lot of crossover in there, including racist tendencies, if you could get, honest answers out of the questions. But to assume that all the racists vote Republican, or that all Republicans are racist, just strikes me as intellectually lazy. For a lot of reasons. The only person that I know that is racist, that I'm on and I realize that I probably know more than what I'm about to say, but the only one that I know that I'll say, yep, they're racist, is an in-law. And I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about that. Now, not a Klansman, not, anything evil. I can't see him burning a cross in someone's front yard, but just doesn't like certain ethnic groups based on the fact that they're members of certain ethnic groups, which I think is the dumbest way to choose who you associate with. So I would love to see, why is this dude doing 30 in a 55? Gap sauce. Bye. It's times like that. I wish I was in my Mustang so I didn't need second gear to pass him, but I would have used it. So, anyway, I'll be glad when people realize that just because someone chooses to vote one way or another, that's not their defining identity. On a lot of the issues where the party that I voted for all but one time is all this or all that. I've got a more nuanced view, and I don't mind explaining it if you won't accuse me of this, that, or the other. There's some gun, I'm very, very pro-Second Amendment. But there are some gun control regulations that I would be 100% okay with passing, provided that I could get it my way where it doesn't try to bend the Constitution due to passing this law. I am... Oh, skunk. I'm very pro-life. But I've got a highly nuanced view on that. I think that adoption should be made, and I realize that you've got to watch out for the interests of the kid in this, but I think that there has to be a better way to adopt a child. I think that there has to be a better way to streamline that process and to allow parents that are unwilling or unable to have children of their own to adopt children, and to put them into contact with with expectant mothers that for whatever reason do not want to keep the child, and they can make that process happen. I think that the cost of adoption is ridiculous, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience. So I come down on certain sides of issues, but not with the all this or all that. It's more nuanced. I also am begrudgingly... Okay, I'll take you through a story real quick. A friend of mine and I, Danny, of I'm No Expert, one time we talked about pro-choice matters. And I told him, I'm like, if you want to know where I stand on this issue, 100% transparent, here would be the most pro-choice argument that I could be convinced to make. All of the medical necessity where you're looking at the mother passing away due to her child, you can have all those. I'll even go one step further on that. There are some pregnancies due to, and you can fill in your blank on the reason, where mentally the mother is not prepared for pregnancy, and she might have mental issues that could lead towards suicide. I am okay with abortion in those pregnancies. I'm okay with abortion when it comes to rape or incest. But I've even got a complicated view on that. I think that if you can prove that a pregnancy happened due to rape or incest, that if the mother is not wanting to perform an abortion, that the perpetrator, if found, should have all of his assets liquidated in order to pay for every dollar of prenatal care and lost wages that the mother will experience, and that the mother should also, if she decides that she does not want to keep the kid, it should also be very easy for her to get in contact with someone who is seeking to adopt. So I've got a complicated view on even that. And, you know, it just bothers me when people don't want to sit down and have informed, intelligent, grown-up conversations about complex issues. Everything boils down to the lowest common denominator. And all of politics and political discussions has turned into bumper sticker slogans. Which, there's nothing wrong with bumper sticker slogans in order to start the conversation, but in order to get anywhere, you need to have more than just screaming opposing bumper sticker slogans at each other and then accusing the other person of whatever terrible crime against humanity because they disagree with you. And that happens on both sides. So, I don't know. I would love for people to realize that those that disagree with them are not their enemy, and in a lot of cases, not all, but a lot, you have people that have thought through to a point why they have their position. They might not be well informed, but there are reasons why they did that. And if their reasoning is flawed, their information wrong, whatever, why not sit down over a cup of coffee, have a civil discussion that would not trend on social media as being a OMG, OMG, two people screaming at each other at a Starbucks. Sit down and have that conversation. Talk calmly, without accusation, without presumption of motive, and be willing to educate, and more importantly, be willing to learn. The best conversations I've ever had with anybody are conversations where someone disagrees, and the ones where I've come away with a sense of enjoyment, a sense of good use of time, and trying to think of all the words I want to put in there, but anyway, in a sense of becoming informed, are conversations where I learned something that I didn't know. I see something that I'm informed about, but explained to me from a different angle, or examined from a different angle that I hadn't thought about. Conversations where I might even talk with someone about a topic where I disagree with their point of view on it, but we sit down and have that intelligent discussion, and are willing to hear each other out about each other's points of view. Good grief, traffic's heavy today. And conversations where at the end of the day, we're both grown-ups that are fully capable of agreeing to disagree. Danny, he's moderated a lot in the past few years, but he was very left on the political spectrum a few years back. And he and I would sit down and we'd talk about something, and we'd talk about something. And basically neither one of us would agree, but the interesting part about it for me is that I would have to defend, pardon me, I would end up having to defend my position on a topic from and rationalize it from a perspective that I may or may not have been familiar with. And so a lot of times he would have a aha moment, like a I gotcha moment, and I'd have to say, let me think on that, I'm not done yet, because I was convinced that my point of view might be right. And so I'd have to go back and think and figure out my rebuttal to his statement or his question. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Find a political friend that disagrees with you on everything, that will agree to not name call, attribute motive or malice, or assume you're evil, and basically see that, hey, this person's a decent human being who wants to sit down and have an informed discussion about stuff where we disagree on everything, and talk to him. You know, Change My Mind, Steven Crowder. I love that series because there are some videos that he's put up where people who are uninformed or underinformed on issues, whether they change their minds or not, they learn stuff. And knowledge is power. You know, whether you change your mind or not, or whether you change their mind or not, the fact that they know things is a good thing. As an example, one last story here, folks, and I'm done. I promise. So, as an example, it was in 2013, after one of the shootings, a coworker got somewhat confrontational about firearms with me. And I don't claim to know all the things about guns, but I know my fair share of things about guns. And so she walked back just flippantly, I'll be glad when they take these guns away from everybody. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. I'm like, you do realize there's this thing called the Second Amendment? Well, why do you need an AK-47? I was like, well, the Second Amendment was originally written for this, that, and the other reason, and also you can use it to hunt. No, you can't. It shred all the deer meat. I'm like, the gun that I use to go deer hunting with shoots a bigger bullet than an AK. And for all the talk about the big bad AR, it shoots one of the smaller rounds out of what's in my personal possession out of a rifle. So it was funny. My opinion on it is whether you're for or against something, you need to be very informed about it. You know, if you want to be against drugs, for example, or against marijuana, that's fine. I want to hear a science-based, well-rounded, well-thought-out argument and policy against it. If you want to be anti-alcohol, that's fine. I want to hear a very well-thought-out, science-based argument against it. If you want to be against guns, that's fine. I want to hear a very well-rounded, science-based argument against it. And on that particular argument, I've got a ton of information to bring to bear that you won't like. So, all that said, I'm done. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time. Stay safe, stay sane.